Hi friends, it's good to be with you. This is the eNews for Wednesday, July 10th. I hope that you're doing well this week. I wanted to update you on a couple of different things, but last Sunday was just a wonderful day of worship. We again were downstairs in Fellowship Hall for worship, and it was a spectacular day. We had lots of people. Bethany was preaching. We also did communion. Hopefully you were able to participate in that, even if you were at home. And also we did a commissioning for the students who are traveling to Niagara this coming, already there this week, and they're working this week, and they'll be back at the end of this week. So continue to be praying for them. We prayed for them in worship, but be praying for them as they are in the midst of that work week and encountering with a lot of new people. And we know that God is using them in that place, and He's doing wonderful things. So be praying for each of those students and for Stephanie and John also as the leaders as they are there in Niagara and away from Pittsburgh for a time. So be praying for them. Last Sunday was wonderful. This coming Sunday, we also expect a wonderful day of worship. Don Dawson is going to be preaching for us. He's been here moderating our session meetings, and so he's already been connected in some ways, but he has the opportunity to preach for us, and we have the opportunity to hear from him preaching on this coming Sunday. We do expect to still be downstairs in Fellowship Hall. As you can see, there is a lot going on with the organ still. The construction is of a greater magnitude than it was last week. There's a lot more going on. The wall has been taken down and a new wall is being built in a different place to allow more space for the organ pipes. A lot going on in the sanctuary. So we'll still be downstairs for in Fellowship Hall for worship. But do make your way up to the sanctuary and be sure that you can see the progress that's going on. It's really wonderful to just see the way that God is providing in these different companies that are coming in and out and working together in tandem to bring this to completion. It's a beautiful thing to see the progress physically in the sanctuary, but also just the progress in communication. God has just provided in numerous ways. I do want to remind you that this is an expensive matter of construction, and so if you would like to give that, you do give to that, you do have the opportunity to give to this organ construction, organ replacement project. So do keep that in mind. We do want to make an announcement about Goat Camp. Elizabeth Dolan is going to come on at the end of the eNews here, and she's going to talk a portion about Goat Camp and all that goes with that. But before we do go to that, I wanted to share a passage with you just as an encouragement for this week and whatever you're going through. Just this last week, or last weekend, I had the opportunity to go to Sight and Sound Theaters. If you've never been there in Lancaster, it's a great place. We got to see a show. And currently this year, the one that they're doing is the Book of Daniel. And so the show was portraying the life of Daniel and all that happens in the Book of Daniel. And because of that, something just stuck out to me, and I wanted to be able to share that with you this week. So I wanted to read from Daniel chapter 3, and spoiler alert, if you have not seen the show, it's all written in Scripture. But I do want to share a portion of that, probably that you know already, the story of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the fiery furnace. A well-known story that we've heard since we were kids, perhaps. But there's a portion of this text that sticks out to me, and a portion of this text that I think should stick out to you just as we read that amazing story. So let me read a small portion of that. So verse 17 of this passage, it starts with these three men responding. They say, "If we are thrown into the blazing furnace, the God we serve is able to deliver us from it, and He will deliver us from your majesty's hand." Now already that first verse, there's a declaration of faith there, that God has the ability to deliver and that He will deliver. But there's this next part to the verse and to the response of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego to Nebuchadnezzar that is extremely important. And it starts with this first word. They say, "But even if he does not, we want you to know, your majesty, that we will not serve your gods." I find that last part extremely striking. I find it striking because, again, already they have made this declaration of faith in God that He can provide for them, But in faith also, they add the portion to their call to God, but even if he does not deliver us, even if we are thrown into this furnace undelivered and die because of it, we will not ever worship your gods, Nebuchadnezzar. We will stay faithful to the one true God. That is an astounding point to me that these three men make. And it's astounding because I can see the difficulty in praying it in my own life. So oftentimes we will go to God, and we should go to God with areas of need, areas of help, areas of prayer for deliverance to God, praying that he would deliver us from a situation, a predicament of any kind. But how often do I add in my prayer, but Lord, even if you do not deliver me from this troubling situation, I still have you to praise. That's a difficult thing. And it's difficult because we are often so self-minded that if we don't get what we believe is good from God, that God is not doing good. We believe that, and we shouldn't believe that, of course. And so even if God doesn't deliver us from a tough situation, he is worthy of praise because everything else we know in these scriptures tells us that God is holy, God is just, God is pure, he is righteous, and he's always looking out for his people. And so with that, I want to encourage you, if there is a prayer of deliverance that you have been asking for and maybe you're receiving the answer no from God, the answer no is not just no. But when God answers no with prayer, there's a tag on that goes with that. It's no because I have something better for you. I have something better. So as we go to God with the want of deliverance in any situation you may be facing this week, also go to him with that word but in our prayer vocabulary. But Lord, even if I do not get what I desire out of this, I know that you are faithful. I know that you love me and you will care for me in whatever way is best. I hope that's encouraging to you this week in whatever you may be facing. But before we end, I do want to invite Elizabeth Dolan to share about Goat Camp this week. She's going to share here, but friends, take care.
Hi, my name is Liz, if you don't know me, and we are gearing up for Goat Camp here coming up at the end of July, July 29th, all the way until August 2nd. So signups for that will close the 14th. So if you are interested in signing your child up, please do that soon. I also invite you to do it quickly in order to make sure your child has a spot in the subject area they want. Kids can sign up in areas such as cooking, STEM, dance and music, sports, and creative corner, which is art and craft. So spots are limited. Cooking is already full, so I apologize if that's what your child wanted to do. But have your kids sign up quickly for that so that they can get a spot. The camp is all about what it means to glorify God with our talents. In a world that we're living in today, the culture is all about glorifying yourself and finding your worth from your abilities. This camp is working to just give kids the truth that their worth does not come from their abilities and that the gifts they have aren't meant to glorify themselves, but to glorify God. So the kids will spend all week in their subject area that they choose. We'll talk about what Jesus did in his ministry and how he glorified God. And we'll talk about how they can do that with their gifts. So sign up for that. We would love some more help for volunteers. We already have a great team together, but we could use some extra hands. So if you would like to be a part of that week, even for one day, we would love to have you, especially if you have any expertise in what it means to glorify God in any of those subject areas I described. Let me know, even if you can only come in for one day to work with one of the groups. That would be really special for kids to see adults who are glorifying God with their talents. So let me know. The last thing is we could use help with collecting goods that we need for it. So at church in the upper gathering room and down in Fellowship Hall, there are goat tails that you can choose. But if you are not here or cannot make it here but would still like to donate, please reach out to myself or Nicole Powell, and we can send you Amazon links of things that we need as well. So just let me know. We really appreciate all of the help and prayers that you guys are sending as we prepare for this week. Thanks.